I love renovating EA houses in The Sims 4, and for some reason this past week I've been really drawn towards renovating a house in StrangerVille. So what I've decided for today's video is to renovate one of the starter houses there. This is the house in StrangerVille that I've decided to renovate today. I think when you save this to the gallery, it comes in just short of 17,000 simoleons. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce this because I'll not be able to successfully do it. So this is if you want to look in the top left corner, it's this lot here. Now, of course, with this being one of the builds that shipped with StrangerVille, it only uses base game and the StrangerVille pack, so that is one thing that I wanted to keep for this build. So my build is also only base game and StrangerVille, but my build is actually 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, so we've actually got an extra bedroom in here, and my house comes in under 20,000 simoleons, so it's still a starter house. But this is the before. So I'll do a quick tour of this. Now, I don't actually mind the colour scheme, to be completely honest. When I actually loaded into this lot, that is one thing that I wanted to try and maintain, especially on the outside. But you'll see when we get to the renovation process just how much I did change and how much I actually kept the same. Because I think the bones of this house, they're not too bad. They're really not. It's not offensive. It just needs a little bit of TLC. You can see that the door isn't centered to the stairs. We've got the medium wall height going on here. The window placement's a little bit odd. The back garden is pretty much non-existent. It's very minimally landscaped. You know, spoiler alert, I actually end up using some debug for the landscaping just to bring it to life a little bit more, but I don't think that's a bad thing, to be honest. I really don't. So that's the outside of the house. Now if we move on to the inside, it's really sad. The layout is terrible. I'm sorry. The layout isn't doing this house any favours whatsoever. So you walk in, we've got the one and only double bedroom just on the right hand side here. We've then got the one and only bathroom, and then when you move to the back of the house, we've got this living, dining, office space, but it just doesn't flow. And honestly, it's actually not a small house, but the space just, I don't think, is utilised all that well. So we do change the layout completely in my version of this house. And then we move on to this very dreary, mismatched, odd kitchen. The cabinet, the one and only cabinet in this house, does not match the counters. I don't know what that is. The fridge is over here all by itself with a little sad bin next to it. You know, like the railing's creeping in here, and I'm not saying anything bad with that. That's not the person's fault that built this house. That's just a classic Sims, you know, mistake / glitch, which then leads out onto this little back porch and then leads out onto this very sad little garden. So I honestly think there's a lot of potential here. So with that being said, we are going to move on to the renovation portion of this video. Here we are renovating our sad little starter house, which again, I think has a lot of potential. So I'm very excited to show you what I've managed to do with this house. So the first thing I did was reduce the wall height to the normal wall height. I think that made a lot of difference, to be honest, and I think it already looks a lot better. I do stick with the green color scheme, but I soften it by introducing a little bit of white, as you can see here. So the roof trim is white, and then the foundation is also white, and then I also changed the swatch of the windows because there's a green and white swatch as well. So we introduce a little bit more freshness, I think, to the outside, which I think makes a world of difference to this house. And overall, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments down below. You'll also have to let me know if there are any other houses that you'd like to see me renovate as well, because there are a few more that I would like to sort of start renovating on the channel. And like I said at the beginning, it's something that I genuinely love to do. So yeah, just let me know if there are any other StrangerVille houses, for example, because this is such an interesting world. I think typically, like especially with the bigger houses, they've got this really sort of grand Victorian sort of theme to them, and they're really beautiful. I just think they again need that a little bit of TLC, a little bit of love. So I'd love to like go back to StrangerVille and perhaps renovate another house here, but yeah, let me know in the comments down below. So we're just making some more adjustments here. I do keep the overall shape of the house because I wanted this to be more of a realistic renovation of this house. And it was also, again, like I explained at the beginning, really important to me that we kept with the starter house budget. So this house does come in under 20,000 simoleons. I think mine ends up being 19,900 and something. So we kept just under that budget. But like I said at the beginning as well, we do have 2 bedrooms and a bathroom in this build that I managed to fit in here, which I think looking back was quite the accomplishment, to be completely honest. It really was. So what I'm doing now is I'm stripping the interior, but I'm keeping some of the items that I think I could potentially use in our new version of this house. I don't keep everything, but I didn't want to sell anything too hastily because I think you get a sell back value of like less than it's actually worth in the catalogue if you sell them from a starter house. So I wanted to try and keep as much as I could. And it was a little bit difficult, to be honest. So I did have to keep sort of pretending that I was going to save the lot to my library so that I could actually see exactly how much the house was worth, because if you click the information button on the top left hand corner, it doesn't take into account the value of the lot itself minus the house. So that was really important to me. I've made that mistake many times in the past, so I made sure not to make that mistake this time. And then when we get towards the end of the renovation, I'll point out when I do it, but I did put a microwave in this build initially, and then there's a couple of other items that I end up adding in here, and then I do swap them out for other items, but we'll talk a little bit more about that when we actually move on to that portion of the renovation. I don't end up adding a back porch because I just don't think it's really, I don't think it adds much value to this house, to be honest. We actually turned the old kitchen into the bedroom, and then we've got the bathroom just in the middle, and then this little room on the back right hand side is an additional bedroom for a child, is what I was thinking. Now, I'm not entirely sure if you were to move 2 adults and a child onto this lot, I'm not sure how much money that household would have. I know when you start with 1 sim, you get 20,000 simoleons, and I think it's the same if you start with 2 adult sims. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not much of a game player. As I've explained in the past, I am much more of a builder. So you'll have to let me know if there's 2 sims and a child, or even 1 sim and a child, how much starter money do you get? I would have thought 20,000 simoleons, but I could be wrong. So I'm like I said at the beginning, I'm quite impressed that I actually managed to get 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, as well as like an open floor concept living, dining, kitchen space for under 20,000 simoleons. I was quite impressed with that. But I think a lot of that's to do with the fact that I think I spent my money quite wisely. I think if I were to do this again, I would potentially do things slightly differently, but that's just me in general. I say this a lot on the channel when I'm building and things like that, but there are definitely certain things that I could have changed to save a little bit more money here and there, but overall I'm pretty pleased with it. So then I was like, okay, well, let's see if we like this bed, because in this swatch it just wasn't doing anything for me. And then I was looking at the sell back value versus how much I would get back if I sold the original bed from the original house. And like the math, my brain was like going into math mode, which I haven't been doing since I left school, let's be honest, because you do, I think in day-to-day life, you do like quite loose maths, but I don't know, like my brain just doesn't maths a lot of the time, even though my job involves quite a bit of maths. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I was playing The Sims, so I wasn't necessarily thinking, oh, I need to do maths today. It was just really funny. But I did keep the original rug. I just sized it up using the tool mod, which I'm hoping doesn't like count as cheating. I don't think it does if you're just sizing items up. I think I just sized up a couple of items in this build, the rug, and then I think a piece of artwork, and then I think that's pretty much it. I was initially thinking as well that I wanted to keep that desk with the laptop on it, and it just didn't work out that way, so I ended up not having a computer in this build. I'm hoping that's not too much of a problem, but I think they're the sort of sacrifices you make when you're wanting to introduce that second bedroom space, you know, and decorate it how I thought I could decorate it, because I think in just a moment I do pop over to that room and see, and like I do get a bit happy and a bit giddy with the items that I was placing down, so I do have to rein back on them a little bit later on in the video to save some simoleons. But that's the challenge with starter houses, I guess, and renovations too. I think when you're doing a renovation and keeping it under that 20,000 simoleon mark, you're introducing quite a few challenges to yourself there, which I'm happy to do. I like a good challenge every once in a while. Not all the time. Sometimes I like to just chill out when I'm building in The Sims. This wasn't one of those videos, I don't think. But yeah, you'll also have to let me know what you think about the speed of this build. I think I only sped this up 2 times. Typically I'll speed my speed builds up anywhere between 3 and 4.5 times. I don't typically do more than that now. I was originally doing 6 times speed, you know, months and months and months ago, and I've quickly realized that that's just a little bit too quick. So you'll have to let me know what you think of the speed of this one. I think this is fine. It's kind of chill, and we were able to talk about the process, and I don't think as like a viewing experience it's too quick, but just let me know in the comments down below what you think. And then I also end up reducing the overall size of the house because this space is so big. That living kitchen dining space was huge, and I was like, we do not need this much space for a starter house, especially when you've got up to 3 Sims maximum living here. If you want to introduce pets in here and get a pet bowl, that is absolutely fine, but this would be a really ideal house if you're wanting to play the StrangerVille storyline, because for those of you that aren't too familiar with the StrangerVille pack, I think it's probably one of the better game packs that we actually got with The Sims 4, to be honest. But there's a storyline that you can play through. I actually played through it when I first got access to this pack, which was years ago at this point. Years and years and years ago. Are we looking at 7, maybe 8 years ago? I'm not entirely sure. I think I'd be shocked. If I looked at the release date for the StrangerVille pack in The Sims 4, I think I'd be shocked. But that was the last time I played it, so my memory's going to be a little bit rusty. But for anyone who's played it recently, if you want to share any stories down below on what to expect for anyone that maybe hasn't tried it, that would be kind of fun. But from what I remember, it was quite a fun concept and something that was quite unique, I think, to The Sims 4 at the time. And I'm not sure, have we had anything similar since that pack? I'm really not sure that we have. But again, if anyone wants to let me know in the comments down below, if we do have something similar. I know with Dream Home Decorator we got the interior designer experience and things like that, but I don't think it was really, well, I know it wasn't a run through, a playthrough of a scenario type deal like the StrangerVille pack. But anyway, so it might be kind of fun. It might be kind of a fun house for you and your Sims to start off in if you're wanting to play that scenario that came with this pack, is what I was trying to say before I went on a Rachel ramble. But yeah, this is the kids' room. I was feeling very optimistic when I went into this room. I was adding toys. There's a rug. There's plenty of things for your Sims to do. Although it is very toned back for one of my kids' bedrooms, I had to pull back. I had to delete the teddy. I think I deleted the bookcase in there as well because we actually end up having a bookcase out in the living space. So I didn't really feel the need to have 2 separate bookcases in a starter home, which I think you'll agree is a little bit overkill. And then we quickly go back to the main bedroom here because I was thinking, well, I could add some curtains in here and just make things a little bit more functional. I put a mirror in the corner as well, just a really cheap one from the base game because usually when I'm building my houses in The Sims, I don't think about budget, again, unless I'm building a starter house, which is very rare, to be honest, that I actually end up building starter houses in The Sims 4. So this is a rare experience for me, and I don't think I did bad considering I am very out of practice. But that's the bathroom done, the kids' bedroom done, although we do end up making some changes, as I've already explained. The main bedroom's done, and then we move on to the kitchen, living, dining space. But we do, as I said earlier, we make this space smaller because this is a huge, huge space, and I didn't want you to move in here with your Sims and think, oh, okay, there's no furniture in here. So I did keep the original cooker and the original fridge from the initial build. I also kept this little telly on this table, but I think I delete them because in my naivety I thought, oh, I can buy a better TV, it's no big deal, I can just buy a better TV. Spoiler alert, no, I absolutely could not do that. So I actually ended up buying that TV back, which again wasted more simoleons, because I'd sold that for cheaper than it was actually worth in the catalogue. So don't make the same mistakes I did if you are planning on doing something like this. And I'm sorry, but like my hair keeps catching on my lips, so that's really irritating me. But yeah, don't make the same mistakes that I did and start buying things and then like deleting things and then buying things that are the same item, because you do lose out on simoleons that way. And then for a while, I do keep these base game counters and pair them with a cheaper cabinet, but I quickly realised that these are 255 simoleons per counter, and I think the cheapest ones were 150 simoleons. So there's quite a difference there, so you can save just between those 4 counters there 400 simoleons. So I was like, okay, and nearer the end of the video you'll see we just do some finessing. We we delete some items and we spend a little bit more money here and there just to make the experience a little bit better. I don't know why I changed this rug, because I ended up putting one in from the StrangerVille pack, and I think this one is actually nicer. I wanted to keep the original orange love seat, and I think in my thought process I was thinking, well, if I can introduce a rug that has a little bit of orange in it, then this would make a little bit more sense. So I do use one from the StrangerVille pack, but I changed the swatch out off camera because I put the brown one down and I was like, why did I do that? That orange sofa sticks out like a sore thumb in this house. And it's a shame because I actually really like this swatch, because it's one of the very few swatches of this love seat that doesn't look like it's made of plastic. It's actually got that fabric texture to it, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, I don't know why I didn't keep this rug. We do change that out, and then I'm just having a look round and thinking, okay, maybe we can separate the bedrooms and the bathroom off just a little bit, spend a little bit of money, put an archway in here and do this. So that's another reason I think I had to hold back on some of the items, because this is a structural change that I did make to this house, and it did cost quite a bit of money. And so I was like, that only saved, pulling that in one tile only saved 40 simoleons, but it helped me feel a little bit less overwhelmed with the space. So in my opinion, it was money well spent. And you can see it's already made quite a drastic difference just pulling that in one square and adding that little hallway that leads off to the bathroom and then the 2 bedrooms. I think it makes sense floor plan wise, and it looks better. So this is when I introduce the new rug. So this isn't the final swatch. I end up adding or changing it out for the one with the orange in it to match the love seat, as I've already explained. The computer has gone. I wanted to place the cheap one down, but that cost, the cheapest PC in this game costs 800 simoleons. And I know I've said this before when I've been building starter houses, and I'd never ever realised just how much items are in this game until you come to building a starter house or building a house on a budget, where you say, right, I have X amount of simoleons to spend, and this, you know, I'm going to stick to that. So let me place some items and do it with a bit of thought, rather than going, okay, well, I'll just do whatever I want like I usually do. And then I switched the living room out a little bit, because I think this layout helps separate the space a little bit better. And here we are buying back our 500 simoleon TV. 500 simoleons for the worst TV we have in game, because I didn't want to put the penguin one down. I just didn't want to do that. So there are certain things that I did in this starter house, and I don't know whether people are going to be yelling at the screen going, Rachel, that was a choice. Like, why did you do that? Why did you not just like not put curtains on some of the windows and things like that? But look, I like starter houses to look nice as they possibly can, you know. But yeah, I use tool to size this plant up as well, because it's just a little bit too small, I think, by default. So I think making it a little bit bigger takes up a little bit more space, makes it look a little bit more intentional. I did put an easel in here as well, because I think the easels are relatively cheap, and I thought, well, it's just something for your Sims to do. You know, they can skill build on it, they can do paintings, it's a way for them to earn money as well. So that was quite important to me. I wanted to try and keep the barbecue in the back garden, but that went. I was like, I can't afford a barbecue in this house. So I do end up deleting that, which is a bit of a shame. I do keep the planter boxes though. Fun fact, I do keep the planter boxes, which again, I was pleased with, because again, it's another way for your Sims to make some simoleons, and you know, they can learn the gardening skill too. So that's fun. And then this is when I started to have to worry a little bit more about money. I think you should, when you're building or renovating a starter house, worry about money from the get-go and not do what I did and go, oh, well, I'll worry about that at a later time. It doesn't matter. You have to plan ahead in starter houses. So don't do what I'm doing right now. Do not do it because you have to go back at the end and make substantial changes. So I was also thinking, you know, we need a bookcase in here. We need a TV. We need to have a shower bath combination just in case your Sims want to expand their family and they need to bathe their infants and toddlers. And yeah, I don't think you can bathe the baby objects. I'm not sure. Someone tell me in the comments down below if you can do that. I'm not entirely sure, but I put a little plant on the table that's got some orange on it as well, just to kind of tie in the little love seat, which I think works quite nicely because it just ties in that little bit of orange that we've got. Well, I say a little bit of orange we've got going on in the love seat. The big splash of orange that's going on with the love seat that doesn't match anything else in the house. I wanted to try and keep a little bit of an essence from the original house, I guess, and it was just a kind of a nice way for me to do that. Now we do end up deleting this hallway / accent table here. I initially put it in because this space was looking very bare and just like undecorated, which for me, it does bug me, I'll be honest, but we do leave the easel here because it's a skill building item and it's very important, but I delete that because ultimately, if you're moving into a starter house, the beauty is that it's a space that your Sims can afford right off the bat, right when you start the game, but also it's a house that you're going to be able to grow into. You can decorate it, add items, take items away as and when you earn more money. So I think I need to get out of my head that it's like a finished product and it's more of like a bit more of a work in progress sort of thing. The inside's pretty much done, although we do make some changes here and there, and now I do get some debug landscaping going on here. I warned you about this at the beginning of the video, but it's a great way to I don't count this as cheating. Usually landscaping does cost money in The Sims 4, but you can access the debug menu. I access it through the Better Build Buy mod, but you can access it through cheats as well if you don't have mods installed. I think it's a really nice way for you to decorate and really make the starter houses pop. I don't think it's cheating. I think plants, flowers and trees, they just add to a build, you know. I'd love to really challenge myself and say to myself, right, you're not using debug landscaping for a starter house, because that would definitely be a bit of a challenge for me. But I think for this one, I wanted to just do what I wanted to do, really. So I didn't go too over the top with the landscaping, I don't think, but I do pull out this sort of bright blue low-lying bush with the really bright blue flowers. I thought that looked so pretty against the green. I'm not entirely sure why. It's not really a sort of a flower that I tend to gravitate towards with my usual builds. But I think because we were building it in StrangerVille as well, it just really added to it. So, and then I was realizing that some of the landscaping was costing money, and I was like, no, we can't have that. We can't be having landscaping that costs money, because we are, you know, we've got a budget here. We've got a budget that we need to hit. It needs to be under 20,000 simoleons, and I'm not spending money on landscaping. So I do pull out this tree. I think this is used, or a similar one's used in the surrounding world. So I thought that worked quite nicely, although it's not exactly the same. I still think it looks quite nice. And we do keep the, like I said, the planter boxes, and also the bin as well, because I can't remember who it is that told me this, but sometimes I'll forget to add outside bins to my Sims builds, but I've been told that means the house isn't fully functional. I don't know how true that is. I just remember someone telling me ages ago. They were like, Rachel, you do realize if you don't put a bin outside, it's not like a fully functional build. Is that true? Because if it is, then I'm in trouble, because I'm lucky if I remember to add, like, you know, items that your Sims actually need inside. Like, for example, I'm gonna say it now because there's gonna be someone screaming at the screen. I'm not sure if I've put a kitchen sink in at this point. For the longest time, the kitchen did not have a kitchen sink. I've got a sneaky feeling currently as it stands it does not have one, but I do add one. Do not panic, there is a kitchen sink in the finished build if you do decide to download this from the gallery or via the tray files. There is a sink, I promise. I can't remember which house I built. It was one quite recently and I just forgot to add a sink. Like, who does that? Clearly me. Sometimes I forget to add a bin, sometimes it's a sink. But like I was trying to explain, more often than not, it is an outside bin. So I apologize for that. If you have to download my houses and do all this work to make them functional, I am so sorry. I am not doing my job if that's the case. But I also add a couple of sunflowers out here because, again, these are from Debug, and I just think the blue and the yellow and the green work so nicely together. It just adds that little bit of whimsy outside, makes it look a little less starter house-ish, you know. I was toying around with the idea of potentially adding some hot pink low-lying flowers because they are in the surrounding landscaping of StrangerVille, but I thought I don't really want to introduce too many colours. So what I did, while I'm saying that whilst I am adding like flowers that have 3 different colours in them. We have yellow, purple and blue in these flowers. So just ignore what I was about to say. Just ignore me completely. But I just thought they added a little bit of a pop of colour that I thought that the house needed on the outside. And I actually finished this house yesterday. And up until this morning, this house didn't really have a back garden space. I didn't do any landscaping around the back. And like when I was going to sleep last night, I was thinking I can definitely change out those cabinets in the kitchen, save some simoleons and get them spent somewhere else, which is exactly what I end up doing. I also add this little sunflower artwork piece inside instead of the other one that we had because it just adds a little bit more colour, a bit more character, and I think it fits in a little bit better with the overall vibe of the house, which is kind of mismatched, a little bit whimsical. We've got pops of colour here and there, and I thought the sunflowers fit that bill a little bit more, sorry. And then I also decided to add a little seating area out onto the front porch because whilst it's not necessary, I think your Sims would really enjoy that. So yes, really nice. And then this is when I grabbed some debug fencing from the base game menu, and I decided to add a little back garden space because although we've run out of simoleons at this point, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we've run out of simoleons completely. So I was like, well, maybe when you move your Sims in here, they can get some jobs and earn some simoleons, and they can really make this back garden space their own. They can have a barbecue area, nice little seating area, maybe a children's play area if your Sim families have kids, and things like that. So you can definitely upgrade this fencing as well because it's from Debug, it's free, so it didn't cost me any money. But if you want to add actual fencing, because your Sims will just walk through this because they don't see this as an object in the game, it's like they don't even see it, so they will walk through it. But I think for the aesthetic purposes of the house, I thought it looked like quite a cute little space, and it just kind of maps out where I envision the back garden would be. And then we just continue on some of the landscaping back here as well. We had this tree. I'm not sure why I added this particular tree because this tree is nowhere to be seen in StrangerVille, but I thought it looked kind of nice here, so I did decide to add it. And then again, just adding some like flowers back here, just making the space look a little bit more intentional. You know, like you could put a barbecue there, nice little bench, some chairs. You could add like the monkey bars there or a swing set or something. It's a nice little house, and it's got potential. It's on a nice big lot as well, so if you wanted to like expand the house out or up, you could definitely do that. It's got a lot of potential, and that's another reason that I enjoy this house very, very much. I do, genuinely. But I think that's pretty much it for the speed build portion of this video, I think. Or do we go inside after this and make some adjustments inside? We'll have to wait and see. I'm not entirely, I have no idea how much longer is left of this footage, fun fact. So we'll roll with the punches here a little bit. So I don't think it's quite the end because I do think I go back inside? Yes, I do, because I changed the kitchen cabinets. Yeah, so there's still a little bit to go. And then I find this little pointy bush from the StrangerVille debug menu along with some cacti as well, so I put some cacti along the lot as well, just to make it blend in with the world. I've talked about this a few times on the channel where, you know, I always try and make sure the houses that I'm building, they blend into the world that they're supposed to be in, you know, whether I'm here or Willow Creek, Bridleton Bay, San Sequoia? Yeah, I was going to say San Myshuno, but San Sequoia and places like that. You know, you've got to make sure that the house looks like it belongs. And, you know, if this wasn't a starter house, I would have loved to add, you know, some flower boxes and some window shutters and things like that around, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. So this is me going back into the house and making some adjustments inside. So we do switch out the counters here for these ones instead, which they're not as colourful, they're not as, I don't think they look anywhere near as nice, but I think it allowed me, I'm just trying to think what I was actually allowed to buy because of me selling these cabinets. I think we just put a few more like decorative pieces on the wall. So I've changed out counters for decorative like items to put on the wall to make the space look a little bit more full, instead of going, okay, well, let's go buy a barbecue now. That would have made sense, you know. I also upgraded the rug. So I feel like I haven't really made the best financial decisions throughout this process. I also tried to change up some of the wallpaper behind the kitchen to make it tiled. I toyed around with the idea of putting this leafy one on, and it just I don't know, I really like this, but it just wasn't fitting with this particular house, so which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. I also toyed around with the idea of adding this checkered one. I do love this, especially with older houses when I'm building them, but it just didn't really fit the vibe. But I do keep it here for a little while. And then I was just checking on the gallery to see how much the house was actually worth to make sure we're still under 20,000 simoleons. I put a little towel above the sink as well. And then I also add some of the aprons, I think, to the left hand side of the fridge, which is really funny. And I think I put a little, yeah, I do. I put like a little flower on here. Look, do not come for me, okay? I tried my best and it's fine, you know? Clearly I value a house that looks nice over a barbecue outside, or over like giving your child some more toys to play with. And I also put a plant here as well. Oh, it looks better, it genuinely does. But if you want to come in here and delete some items because you're thinking, Rachel, what are you doing here, then please feel free. Look at this rug upgrade. How much better does that look? Please, it really does. And then I think I just add, like I said, some aprons on the left-hand side of the fridge. And then I also add the, I don't know what it is, it's from Base Game, but it's like, it has a hat and a coat on it, like a coat rack near the front door. I add that there as well. I was going to add some artwork here, and I think I decided against that for some reason. Look, I'll put the little aprons here. Why am I doing this? Like, I'm actually ashamed of myself. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. People are going to be yelling at me. Oh my goodness, quite rightly so as well. I do not blame you one bit, but it just adds a bit more colour, a bit more whimsy to the build. But that's pretty much it for the speed build portion. So now we will do the live tour of the build itself in game. Here we are. Here is our fully renovated starter house in StrangerVille. Look, I did add a couple of items off camera, just some debug items to add a little bit more detailing to the outside. The car, I don't think I added on camera, this thing, and then this little flamingo over here as well. I was like, oh, this house needs a flamingo. But apart from that, I think that's pretty much it. So this is the front of the house. I think this, compared to how it was, is a major upgrade, and I'm really thrilled with it. I'm pleased with it. And then if we move on to the back here, this is the little garden, quote unquote, that we created so that you can see where I envisioned it would be. But obviously you can extend it out if you wanted to as well. You can delete some landscaping. You can add more onto the house if you want to. You know, it's definitely a very versatile lot. And I think it's well placed as well, because we've got like the town centre over here and things like that. So if we move on to the interior, let's have a quick look round. So we've got our, I've just realized I could have definitely deleted one of these lights and saved a bit of money as well. Oh well, it's fine. It's done now. So this is our living space. Look how simple this is compared to most of my, well, 99.9% of my Sims builds. So this is the little seating area. I think that looks quite cute. We've got a bookcase over here. We've got some artwork. And then our very sad little kitchen. Like this looks really bad, doesn't it? I wish I could have like tiled along here without it looking silly. But because I added this wall here with the archway, it would have looked silly if we had tiling over here. So if anyone can think of a way to remedy that, then please feel free. Other than adding, I mean, I know we've got like the decorative wall pieces that look like wall tiles, but they're not from base game and they're not from StrangerVille, so I wasn't able to use them in this build, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, that's our kitchen space. And then we've also got some room here, so you could have like a proper dining area here if you wanted to, obviously as and when your Sims get more money. You could have a kitchen island here to sort of separate the kitchen space off and then have a big dining table here. That'd be quite nice. You could move the easel onto the porch or into the kids' room. There's plenty of space for you to do what you need to do. We've got our hallway, which then leads off to the 2 bedrooms and the bathrooms. This is the main bedroom. Very simply decorated. There's not too much going on in here, but I think it looks nice nonetheless, and it's a nice little cozy space. We've got our full bathroom here. Look, this monstrosity is not my first choice, but compared to the one that looks so much better, this one was miles cheaper. So that's why I went for this one. It's ugly, but it's functional. So that's the reason for that. And also I tried. It does have green in it. So I was thinking, okay, well, we're keeping with the green theme here. But anyway, so it's kind of thoughtful. And then just a toilet and a sink, and the mirror and the toilet roll holder, which were all from the original house. And then we have our second bonus bedroom, which I think, again, for a starter house coming under 20,000 simoleons, it's a nice space to have. So I did decorate this for a child. Obviously, if you've got a teen, if you've got a toddler, like, you can just make any amendments that you need to. I tried to have a bit of a colour scheme going on in here, but given the fact that it's very bare, you know, I did the best I could with what I had. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with this house. So if you'd like to download this house for yourself, it's available from the gallery right now under my origin ID, which is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description box just below. You can get them from SimFileShare. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining me here today. I really hope you enjoyed this renovation video. Please let me know if there are any other lots that you would like me to renovate. But you all take care, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye.